What up, what up, what up, Finn fans? Welcome to another episode of the Finn Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everybody doing this Monday? How is everybody doing? Who's up in the building today before we discuss our Miami Dolphins? And football's back officially. We had our first preseason game. We had a preseason game. We're going to go over that. Things that I observed from this game, things that, they gave me a sense of relief, and things that continue to bother me about this football team. Michael Lombardo, what's up? Chef Jew, what's up, brother? I appreciate the shout out. Elwood, what's up? Glenn, what's up, brother? Edward, Joe, what's up? What's up? Now I'm gonna put usually I don't put the link in the morning show, but we gonna do this. I want to hear some of your thoughts on yesterday's game after I do my little stuff, you know what I mean? After I go through my little rant that I have. So where do we begin? Do you want to start with strengths? Do you start with weaknesses? Tua Tagovailoa ends up starting this game. He had a couple decent throws. He moved the team down the field. Listen, we got stood up at the goal line, 4 straight attempts. Still having an issue with running the ball on short and goal. You know what I mean? It looks like it's still going to be an issue to pick up 1 yard when we need it the most. Right. And, Devon Achane, I thought was pretty impressive. He looked good. The offensive line was opening up some holes, and Devon Achane doesn't need these big gaping holes because he's so quick. You give him a little bit of a lane, he can take off. And I thought Devon Achane looked really good yesterday, driving him down the field. Like I said, Tua took him down the field, but again, it wasn't against the starting lineup necessarily of the Chicago Bears. Did they have some starters in the game? Yeah, but not too many. So you take that. It was good to see Tua get out there, and Tua had a bad joint practice with the Chicago Bears, so it was good to see him come back and put some positive, get a positive feel for the game again. You know what I mean? So I like that. But again, it's disheartening that we got stuck up at the goal line with most of our starters, and pretty much that's our starting offensive line. You know what I mean? Now I know Austin Jackson's not in the game, but pretty much that was a starting offensive line going against the Bears' second unit, and we couldn't get the ball in the end zone. So that is worrisome to me. I still think we need to go find a big body back. Someone that can get us that 1-2 yards when we need it. I don't think Madison's necessarily the answer. He had 2 fumbles in joint practices the other day. He didn't do anything impressive for me yesterday. Ollie Gordon had a good game yesterday. Would I like to see Ollie Gordon get put into that situation? Yeah. Why do we got Achane still running the ball? And short and goal? Why? Even Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright was not impressive to me at all yesterday. Jalen Wright, I don't know. Maybe you guys seen something different than I did, but Jalen Wright just didn't do it for me. He hesitated too much in the backfield. There was an opportunity maybe on one of those, maybe 3rd and goal it was, that he might have had an opportunity to hit a lane and get into the end zone, and he stutter stepped in the backfield and then got ate up. It is what it is with him. But yeah, Tua not too much. Played 1 series, completed a couple nice passes. It is what it is with Tua. We know what we got with Tua when he's healthy. We know what we got with Tua when he's healthy. Zach Wilson played a decent amount of this football game. What can I say about Zach Wilson? Like I said it all along. Zach Wilson, he's talented. Zach Wilson's got a talented right arm. Zach Wilson can make some of the most beautiful, crazy throws imaginable, right? He can make a throw 40 yards downfield off a back foot with his arm angle crazy. Like he can put it on a dime at points. What I've always said about Zach Wilson is he lacks it between the ears. His mental capability for this football game, processing, breaking things down, knowing where to go with the football, that's where Zach Wilson lacks, and I don't know if he's ever going to be able to get that. I don't know if Zach Wilson's ever going to get that. So he played exactly the way I envisioned Zach Wilson to play. He is exactly who I thought Zach Wilson was. He struggles under pressure. If you get pressure on Zach Wilson, he is going to struggle. Absolutely going to struggle. He holds onto the ball too long. He's not decisive with the football. He questions himself too much. Instead of to go out there and rip, he overthinks, I think. He overthinks, I think. Like, he took quite a few sacks yesterday, and I feel like most of those sacks were on his, just because he was holding the ball too long. Like, he was going through his progressions, and he was just too nervous or too scared to let it rip. And again, he makes some of the greatest throws that you could imagine, but then six throws he'll mess up on. Zach Wilson had a walk-in touchdown on a screenplay to Tanner Conner, right? Throwing off his back foot, he puts it in the dirt. Glenn, he was going through his progressions, though. He just, I don't know. But he had a walk-in touchdown for Tanner Conner, throws off his back foot, puts it in the dirt. Later on the game, same kind of throw, off the back foot, he delivers a beautiful pass 25, 30 yards downfield to Taj Washington, right on the money. Same type of throw. But this one was going to put points on the game board. The other one was just a really nice throw down the field. Again, he lacks it upstairs. I believe he's got a very talented right arm. He can make all the throws. There was, like, even after Tua came out the game, you could notice the difference in velocity on Zach Wilson's throws and Tua Tagovailoa's throws. At least I could. Like, when Tua was in there, the ball was getting where it needed to go. It was accurate. When Zach Wilson came in, it just looked like the ball would fly out of his hand. It just looked like it would fly out of his hand. He can make the throws. He just, like I said, it's brain farts. If you can make the 25, 30 yard throw downfield off your back foot, you should be able to make the 3-4 yard. You know what I mean? Zach Wilson had like 96 yards passing today, but two of those came off. Most of those yards came off two passes. I think 60-some yards came off two passes. 60, 65, 70 yards. You had the two passes, one the Nick Westbrook Akine that he hit Akine, and Akine was able to gain a bunch of yardage on the ground. And then the 20, 25 yarder, the Taj down the field off his back foot. But other than that, Zach Wilson was not impressive to me. I was not on board with giving him all that money. I thought the money would have been, and people can agree to disagree. It's what it is. I thought Mac Jones was the better option at backup quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Just because Mac Jones has a lot of similarities to Tua talking about Loa. They both are very accurate quarterbacks, not the strongest arms, but very accurate. Can put the ball where it needs to be. I thought, and you would have got him for half the price. Yeah, obviously Zach Wilson is that. If you can get Zach Wilson, if you can get him right and upstairs is in the mental part of the game, I mean, you could hit a home run. He could be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But again, I do not think that you're going to be able to. Either you got it or you don't at this point. And I don't think you're ever going to be able to improve Zach Wilson's capability as far as the mental part of football goes. What up, Sean? What up? C? C says, after this season, we should be in position to add a quarterback at the top of the draft. What up, Michael K? I hope not. Might check. I thought I had this figured out. Let me see these. Sound better? I mean, sure, he could take sacks, but is that what you want to go by? Is that what you want? Zach Wilson could take sacks, so he should be the starter over Tua, I guess. Sorry, I'm just trying to get this audio thing taken care of real quick, the best I can. Make sure while I'm doing this, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share, turn your notifications on. Make sure. And what up, Bonnie? Doug, how's it going? I see y'all up in there. Michael K, we all hope for the best, but reality is we're going to be lucky for 7 wins. I don't see that. I think this team's going to be improved. We won 8 games last year. I don't know how you go backwards. I don't know how the team goes backwards if they're improved. I mean, if you don't think they're improved from last year, then yeah, I guess. The worst part about the season is wasting Weaver as a DC. Well, maybe he'll be your next head coach. Who knows? Right? Quinn Ewers. I've seen a lot of comments from fans, and they did this with Skylar Thompson too. Oh, Skylar should be starting. Put Skylar in the game. Skylar's better than Tua. I've seen the same type of things about Quinn Ewers and Tua Tagovailoa. Quinn's having a decent training camp, and all of a sudden, fans want Quinn Ewers to be the starting quarterback of the Dolphins over Tua Tagovailoa. I mean, I think we're improved. You tell me where we're not improved besides defensive back. Tell me where we're not improved besides defensive back. So Quinn Ewers, turnovers, right? He needs to learn how to not turn the ball over first and foremost, right? He needs to not turn the. First off, I think we're better at wide receiver. How do you think we're worse at wide receiver? How do you think we're worse at quarterback? That makes no sense. And Zach Wilson, I forgot this. Zach Wilson could have had 2 pick sixes yesterday if he was playing against the first team Bears defense. They would have been pick sixes. They would have been pick sixes. But Quinn Ewers, he's got to be able to protect the ball. Listen, the first fumble was absolutely on Kerryon Smith, who was in there at left tackle. His guy just blew by him, and he ate Quinn Ewers up. But Quinn Ewers got to still protect that football. He's still got to protect that football. Adding players don't make you automatically better. They don't. You're absolutely right about that. You're right about that. But when you add players that are considerably better than what you had, you should be better. Quinn Ewers made some decent throw. I'm going to chalk this one up to Quinn Ewers as it was his nerves. It was his nerves. I'm not going to sit here and crucify the kid for his game yesterday. We all seen it. He didn't play well. He didn't play well, but I'm going to chalk this one up to nerves. He gets one mulligan. He gets a mulligan. It was his first pro action. He was probably, the kid was probably nervous. All right. You could tell by the first throw he had where he airmailed it. Listen, give the kid an opportunity. Let him get this one under his belt, and then we'll go from there. We're going to have more opportunities this offseason to see what Quinn Ewers is made of. If he comes out and lays another egg like that against the Lions, then, maybe there's something justified there. But right now, I'm not going to crucify the kid. I'm just going to say Quinn's got to protect the ball better. What positions do we clearly improve? I think we are better at wide receiver. I think we're better at linebacker. I think we're better at safety. I think we're better on the O-line. And Sean, you're right. Quinn doesn't really need to be ready yet. He doesn't need to. But you want to see him perform better than what he did. You want to see him take care of the ball. You want to see him, and I know he's our third string quarterback right now, but he's going against third string guys that aren't going to even be in the NFL. You want to see him be able to take advantage of those guys, right? What continues to worry me is the guys that we have that back up our starting five on the offensive line. These guys are clearly no good. Jermaine Ifida or Fada, however the hell did you say his name? Come on. Keon Smith, Liam Eichenberg, Larry Borum, like all of these guys are not it. They're not it. These are not second string backup capable players. These are not guys we can rely on. We added 2 players to the offensive line that I feel are better than Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones. Even if the kid's a rookie, I still feel like he's going to be better than Eichenberg or Jones. I mean, time will tell, but I truly believe that. Who's the second O-line? I mean, Keon Smith was playing left tackle. Larry Borum was in there. He was starting at right tackle. These guys are not good. How did he sucked in college? He sucked in college. Like, let's be real. If he sucked in college, he wouldn't have been a second round pick. You suffer offensive line injuries. Everybody does. But it's definitely a position where guys go out. Guys are in and out the lineup. That I'm sure some of his athletic ability was a part of it, but he did not suck in college. Like, come on. You got to have realistic takes. Jonas Sabanea sucked in college. That's really what you're going to say. I mean, we will see. We will see. Maybe you're right. Maybe you will be right, sir. I don't have a crystal ball over here. I don't have a crystal ball. I mean, I don't see how that's even remotely a possibility. You think these guys know that the whole NFL just doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to Jonah, right? Because we're not the only ones that wanted Jonah. But anyway, we need to add some offensive linemen. We need to add some offensive linemen. Sackman, what's up? Quinn needs time. He had a bad game, but he will get better. Yeah, that's why I said I'm giving him this one. I'm giving him this one. Michael K. You be ass clowning, bro. You cannot. That's why I can't take anything you say serious. You can't say anything positive against another team. I consistently sit here and say good things about the Buffalo Bills. I sit here and consistently say good things about the Buffalo Bills because I can be honest. I'm not just gonna hate. But you never. I've never heard you say one nice thing about the Miami Dolphins. Not one. You know what I mean? Like, come on. That's goofy. That's goofy to me. We need to improve on this offensive line. We need to get some players that are competent that can come in and help this unit out when we suffer an injury. We need physicality. We did what we did last year. Maybe continue with help. Not sure where we go to find a few competent O linemen except wait until cut down day. I mean, bottom line, Isaiah Wynn is available. The fact that Isaiah Wynn's not on this football team is ridiculous. Grant was not getting manhandled. What were you watching? Grant was taking on double teams, had a batted pass. What are you talking about? Grant played really well yesterday. Already eating up double teams. Let's be honest with ourselves. This team hasn't provided positives for the last 25. That's not true neither. Kenneth Grant was not bad yesterday. Jordan Phillips did play good yesterday. Jordan Phillips played excellent yesterday. Jordan Phillips, one of my favorite draftees. Jordan Phillips was one of my favorite draftees. I think the kid has the potential to be the best out the whole class when it's said and done. A couple players on the offense that I was impressed with. Malik Washington, I thought he did a phenomenal job yesterday. I think he is absolutely going to be the slot guy for us. I think he has the potential to be fantastic for us. I really liked what I seen out of Malik Washington, and I liked what I seen out of Taj Washington too. I thought Taj Washington looked really good too. Maybe boy. On TV, he looked pretty good. I think Taj and Malik are both weapons on this team. You add them with Nick Westbrook and Keeney, who brings you size. I definitely like this wide receiver room better than I did last year. You're not impressed by anything unless it's Buffalo. Yeah, he's very shifty. Taj is very shifty. I like him. How many wide receivers are the Dolphins going to keep this year? I mean, you got Tyreek, you got Waddle, You got both Washingtons. That's 4. Nick Westbrook and Keeney. That's 5. Um, they definitely keep 6, right? They definitely going to keep 6. I think you got to keep Theo Wees. See what he can do with a quarterback that can get him the football. Plus, everybody else is undersized, right? Everybody else is undersized, so he's him and Nick Westbrook and Keeney are the only guys that give you any bit of size. And Theo Wees has had a very good camp so far. Yeah, Estridge too. Yeah, Edwards. So, do they keep 7? Do they keep 7 receivers? I forgot all about him, Edward. You're absolutely right. Estridge definitely makes the team. I think they're fine. I think they're fine. You don't need huge weapons. Yeah, I think you got to keep 7. So yeah, I think you got to keep 7. Let's take a look at the tight end room. That's a mess. We got to hope that Darren Waller is the Darren Waller old, because these guys just aren't it. Hill's still trash. Pharaoh Brown's not good. He was missing blocks yesterday. That's supposed to be his forte, is blocking. He was missing whiffing on blocks yesterday. Yeah, we gotta hope that Darren Waller is that dude. Finspin, what's up? You do when they press you at the line and your quarterback can't make nothing happen from there. Listen, the only reason that worked last year is because they were playing them 2 deep safeties and they were dropping so many guys in coverage. If we're able to run the ball, they can't press our receivers like that. Because if you press our receivers at the line and you miss, or you don't get your hands on them good, it's a touchdown for the Miami Dolphins. Because the Miami Dolphins will then beat you deep. If you go and you whiff on Tyreek and you're trying to press him at the line and you have no help, oh, you in trouble. Oh, you in trouble. It worked last year because we were unable to run the football. You were able to drop 2 deep safeties. You were able to have more people in coverage. So they were able to be up there playing physical with our receivers because there was no risk of them throwing deep on them. There was no risk. No way they keep 7 at receiver. I wouldn't be surprised. I do think we'll be able to run the ball this year. I do. I do think we'll be able to run the ball this year. At least I hope so. I really do think this offensive line is going to be better. I do. I think this offensive line is going to be better. Again, we're in training camp. We had our first preseason game. I think Jonah is going to be good. Hopefully, Patrick Paul rebounds after not the greatest week of practice against the Chicago Bears. And yeah, you got Brewer, who is just getting back into the thick of things. Daniel's just getting his feet back under him. We got to get Austin Jackson back in the thick of things. JD, what's up? What's up? The offense wasn't figured out a year and a half ago. That's absolutely not true. We just weren't. If you can't do certain things on the football field, it takes away other things. If we run the football, everything will be good. I promise that. If we can run the football consistently, everything will be good. That's not true. It's not true. He didn't listen. He got put on his back in practice, right? I mean, he wasn't as dominant as he had been against our guys. No, we were unable to run the football because our offensive line was one of the worst in football. It might have been the worst in football. Again, I mean, you got your opinion. Listen, I'm not saying, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm not going to say you're wrong because what makes me right? You know what I mean? I see the game the way I see it. You see the way you see it. I mean, we obviously don't necessarily agree on some aspects of this team, and that's cool. That's cool, brother. I'm going to look at the positive side of things. You know what I mean? I'm going to look at the positive side of things and hope that it turns out positive. And maybe Michael K, maybe it turns out like every other year, and then hopefully Mike McDaniel's replaced, Chris Greer's replaced, Tua's replaced, and we go find the players that we need to be a winning franchise. All I care about is winning. Listen, don't just because you think your way is realistic or your ideas are realistic, I'm being just as realistic. I'm not living out on a, oh my God, these guys got to be all, Tua's going to be the MVP. Or listen, I'm not being unrealistic. I know this team has holes. So, I mean, you could say that, but I bet you this team has more than 7 wins at the end of the year. And then, are you being realistic? I just don't know how that's a positive way to fan. I'll bet whatever. I'll bet whatever. I already got multiple bets on the Dolphins will win more than 7 games. I don't think there's a way they don't. If Tua Tagovailoa is healthy, they're winning more than 7 games. You mess around, that has 7 wins by midseason. Again, like I feel like that's a slight shot. It is what it is. Again, just because that's your way doesn't make it realistic. It can be real to you. It can be real to you. Let's get to the defensive side of the ball. Players I was really impressed with yesterday: Dickerson, Willie Gay, Willie Big Play Gay, uh, KJ Britt, uh, KJ Britt looked really good. McClendon looked really good. Uh, I thought all those guys looked really good. I think our front seven has great depth. I think our defense has great depth up front. And who you gonna keep? Who you gonna keep? You're gonna keep Dickerson. Zeke Biggers made some decent plays yesterday. He looked good. Uh, Jordan Phillips looked good. Obviously, you got Kenneth Grant, Zach Sealer, Bradley Chubb, Job Robinson, Jalen Phillips. You got good depth up front. Listen, and I agree for most of those years, but you can't. The last 3 years aren't the same as the last 22 of those 25 years. The last 3 years aren't the same as the last. You can't categorize the last 3 years with all those other years. All those other years, absolutely, I agree with you 100%. 22 out of the 25 years, I agree with you. Okay, I'm not worried about it. I care less how many starters the Bears played. That's not the norm for Mike McDaniel's led teams. That's not the norm for this roster. Yeah, we was very mediocre the bad for most of the last 25 years, but you can't say that about the last 3 years. We make the playoffs last year if Tua didn't go down. 100%. Uh, yeah, like I said, Dickerson, Willie Gay, McClendon, KJ Britt, they all looked really good. Uh, Ethan Bonner probably played the best of all the corners, in my opinion. He wasn't great, but he was probably the best of all the corners. Storm Duck was giving up catch after catch in front of him. I'd like to see a little bit more out of Storm. BJ Adams gave up a big play. Jack Jones, he had a pick called back because of pass interference, but it was a decent play. It was a decent play. What up, Shake? Yeah, this secondary, these cornerbacks, it's gonna be a weakness of this football team. Bottom line, it's gonna be a weakness of this football team. He committed a crime. That was a decent play. I mean, it was a pass interference, but he did a nice job tracking the ball. It wasn't that bad of a pass interference. I mean, it was pass interference, but it wasn't that bad. He could have made that same play without interfering the way he did. We ran a lot of 3 safety looks yesterday. I think we do. I think that's what we're gonna run with this year. The less corners that we put on the field, the better. I do think we'll run a lot of 3-man safety units. Yesterday was Malafanu, Minka, and Elijah Campbell. If Ashton Davis can get back healthy, I think he'll be the third safety. I think all 3 of those guys can be very good players. Can make a positive difference in this team from this year from last year. I think we were terrible at safety last year. And you can say that you love Javon Holland. Javon Holland was at one point was one of my favorite players on this football team. But he mailed it in last year. He absolutely mailed it in. We lost Teron Armstead, Jonnu Smith, Jalen Ramsey, Javon Holland, Moser, and Moser was terrible last year. We don't need a top tight end to be successful. Armstead, we lost for 10 games. Yeah, that's gonna hurt. But Patrick Paul's been impressive this year. We lost Jalen Ramsey, but we got Minka Fitzpatrick. Glenn says, I just don't think it'll be that bad at corner. Our corners were not great on pass coverage last year. Yeah, they weren't great, but we're talking about players that are not very good. Listen, let's keep it real. Badgett is not a first round draft pick. He's not one of the top quarterbacks in this league. And he ran a 16 play drive for 90 yards against our team, taking over 9 minutes off the clock. Like he picked us apart. And we're talking about Badgett, the backup quarterback for the Chicago Bears. Imagine what Joe Burrow was going to do to the secondary. So, Glenn, yeah, maybe they didn't look that bad yesterday, but we played Badgett in the Chicago Bears. We added Minka, James Daniels, Willie Gay, Nick Westbrook, Ikine. Yep. We had a very good draft. We had a very good draft. We had a very good draft. And then you got players. You gotta understand Tyreek was hurt last year, right? Add Bradley Chubb to that list. Add Jalen Phillips to that list. Noah Sewell was looking like a dog yesterday. He was very impressive. He was very impressive. You're absolutely right about that, Sagman. He was very impressive yesterday. You really believe this is another typical Chris Greer draft? Because I think this draft is going to be fantastic. So when you put additions on the team, make sure you add Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips because they were non-existent for us last year, right? They didn't play. They didn't really play. Yeah, like I said, secondary was very mediocre. I thought again, C. Hopeful says that Kenneth Grant didn't play good. I thought Kenneth Grant played. He was decent. He had a batted pass. He went up against drawn multiple double teams. I thought he played decent. I can't count on guys who can't stay on the field. I mean, they're on the field till they're not, right? Again, we don't have crystal balls. Is there a chance that these guys get hurt? Absolutely, absolutely. But until they do, that's how I'm going to call this football team. I'm not into predicting injuries. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to look at a football team, what we currently got, and I'm going to go from there. And when an injury occurs, then I'll adjust my assessment of the team. But I'm not going to sit here and predict this guy's going to miss 6 games. This guy's going to miss 8 games. This guy's going to miss 5 games. I'm just not going to do that. If that's what you want to do, cool. That's cool. Grayson Murphy looked good. He had a decent day. He had a sack. He got good pressure a couple times. He had a chance at a pick, but he short-armed it. Again, this depth in the front 7 is going to be fantastic. That's cool. I'm glad that Phillips looked good. Like I said, before you even mentioned Jordan Phillips, I've been saying it all along. Jordan Phillips, I love what I've seen from him yesterday. I've been saying it since day one, since this draft took place. Jordan Phillips has the potential to be the best draft piece that we took this year. The guy is super young. He's a power lifter. He's a former wrestler that helps you with your technique, your balance, it just helps with everything. He's super young. He hasn't even reached his grown man status yet. I think Jordan Phillips is going to be absolutely phenomenal in the future. How did Mike McDaniel perform yesterday? 2 play on the second half, timeout used. Well, we got to hope that Mike McDaniel can make better adjustments this year. We'll see. I think Stonehouse is going to be the punter 100%. Bailey's time are limited. Stonehouse was actually holding kicks for Jason Sanders yesterday. So that's very telling to me. That was one really reason that Bailey was still on this team, that Stonehouse didn't hold kicks for Sanders. So now that he's doing that, I think Bailey's going to be released rather than later. I'm so happy that we got a new special teams coordinator. The special teams unit looked completely different yesterday than they have in the last couple of years. Uh, the return game looked more explosive. Not all the penalties. I'm super excited about that because this secondary did hurt us last year. The secondary hurt us last year. It hurt us the year before that too. Remember the kickoff return in Buffalo that gave them the division? So I'm super excited about our our special teams unit this year. But yeah, that I mean, front seven depth again. Zeke Biggers, Jordan Phillips, Dickerson, Eugene Asante was flying all over the field yesterday. KJ Britt, Big Play Gay, Jordan Brooks, Dodson. I mean, the list goes on and on. We got a lot of depth on this in this front seven, and I think they can be one of the best front sevens in all of football. Mike McDaniels, he's just a young coach that gets in his own way. He needs to stop worrying about trying to be the smartest guy in the room and just be a smart guy. Like he tries too hard to come up with the mumbo jumbo stuff that comes out his mouth that half the population can't understand what he's saying. And just concentrating to getting down to the meat and potatoes of the game of football. Again, Michael K., you don't know what this defense is going to run. It's new personnel. You can say you think you know what they're going to run, but they're going to get the most talented guys on the field as much as possible. That's why their depth chart, they came out with a 4-3 depth chart, which they never do. Yeah, I do know that they're going to get the most talented players on the field. Yep, I do know that they're going to get the most talented players on the field as much as possible at the same time. I do know that. First off, fire this whole front office. Hey, I think this front office should have been fired years ago. Cool, Mike K. Cool. But yeah, that's what I took. You know, I don't think we see Tua next game. Maybe we see him a little bit against the Jags, but we're on the Detroit. I'm hoping things I'm looking for this game is more consistency in the run game. Ollie Gordon had a great game. I wouldn't say great, but he looked good yesterday. Ollie Gordon looked good yesterday. I want to see Quinn Ewers improve. Like I said, I'm not big on Zach Wilson. He might be the most important backup quarterback in the whole NFL, though. Because if there's one quarterback that most teams would point to and say is going to miss games, it's going to be Tua Tagovailoa, right? Again, Michael K., you're the most casual fan I think I've ever dealt with. I think you know very little about. I think you know about X's and O's of football, but I think you know very little about football besides that point. You're just so biased in your own Bills love, a team that has won absolutely nothing in their whole existence besides division championships. A team that's won absolutely nothing. Some of the biggest losers in the NFL history. The Bills aren't legit contenders. The Bills ain't legit contenders. They got one great player. The Bills will not make the Super Bowl this year. Promise you that. It don't matter. How old were you when the Bills won their Super Bowl? Never. 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 The Bills have never won one. Nobody's ever, there's not a person that was ever lived on this earth that could be old enough, because the Bills have never. No, Glenn, because as much as Josh Allen's the Dolphins' daddy, Pat Mahomes be putting little Josh Allen right over his motherfucking knee. Sorry about the language. But yeah, Miami Dolphins could have been better yesterday, yeah. But it's the work out the kinks, get some continuity, and it's hard to argue with a Dolphins fan who would do worse on the Wonderlick than tuna. I'm sure you would do so phenomenal. But yeah, continue to get better day in, day out. That is the goal. I'm still curious to see if Chris Greer makes any moves. This is the opportunity where you get to see what you're working with and realize that, hey, the offensive line, the backups, they're just not it. They're not good enough. Let's go get somebody. Let's go make a move. Hey, our corners aren't good enough. Let's go make a move. And I really hope that Mike McDaniel sticks up for this team, because if I hear another instance of our team being disrespected like they were in Chicago with the unnecessary roughness they got, you know these Chicago Bears players going overly rough in practice when they agree to a certain amount of physicality, and the Chicago Bears went over that amount and they end up hurting our star wide receiver Jalen Waddle. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I think Detroit with Dan Campbell as quarterback, our coach, is going to try to be physical with us too. And Mike McDaniel can't sit there and take that shit. He can't sit there and take it. Yeah, I mean, if you're saying you're not hitting at this level in practice, and then the Bears are doing stuff that you guys didn't agree upon, yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, Glenn, absolutely. It's just about getting stuff right, working through stuff. It's not. Listen, if you say, "Hey, we're tackling," cool. But if you say we're not tackling, and then you come out and you tackle us, that's different. You don't see the difference in that. You don't see the difference in that. Hey, we're having a boxing match, and then all of a sudden you roundhouse kick me. You know what I mean? What? And I agree. I agree. That's what I'm saying. That Mike McDaniel needs to make that known. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to see. But they're going to go by what the coach tells them to do. And Mike McDaniel needs to tell them, if they get punched in the mouth, you better swing back. but it's definitely not okay. And that's not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying if you get punched in the mouth, you better get up and swing back. And as far as I know, they did. There was multiple fights that were broken up. That's true too, Glenn. Yeah, hit that like button for me. Yeah, so there were some positives to take away. There were some negatives, obviously. Uh, These games are just to get better. They don't matter if they win or they lose. It's just about improving. It's just about improving, getting better day in and day out. Next up on the slate is Detroit. Uh, Headed up to Detroit. That's our next preseason game. We have joint practices with them, and hopefully, hopefully we can continue to get healthy. We need Tyreek back. We need Jalen Waddle back, and hopefully Chris Greer gets off his butt and makes a move. Makes a move because we still need to add some players to this team. But I'll be back tomorrow. I love you all. I appreciate you all stopping in and love the conversation. And you know what it is. Fins up, baby. Peace.